The Black Lives Matter movement continues in Huntsville. TD in Gravenhurst shuts down amid COVID-19 concerns. And the Gravenhurst Farmers Market is up and running. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Cogeco News for June the 3rd. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. Well, just a few days after protesters gathered in Bracebridge, a new set of Muskokans are raising signs in Huntsville to speak out against racism. Muskokans aren't going to be sitting at home during the Black Lives Matter movement, which has swept the nations in North America in the last week. Today, residents were out in force in Huntsville, but held tight in a peaceful manner, wanting to properly respect the message coming from the death of American black man George Floyd. Among the group was Mustafa Mukhtar, who says he's been a victim of racism in the past, and he's happy to be a part of this movement and be surrounded by so many supporters.
It's not like I'm gonna sit down and just blame it on all other people, but just some people that are bad. Not all people are bad. Yeah, it's really important because at the end of the day, it makes me feel like I'm loved. It makes me feel like people are out here to show me support. It makes me feel like people are listening, people are watching, and there's hopeful for the future, because at the end of the day, we are nothing but all one race, human race. That's it.
Other supporters say they're just hoping to help bring some kind of change to the minds of many in North America.
It just seems so unfair how the cops are killing black people, and it's just really sad.
But what I do know is that it's not okay. I'm here to support. I'll get emotional because this whole week has been that way for me. But just to show my support and that Black lives do matter, and I'm learning, I'm educating myself, and I want to encourage other people to do the same.
This peaceful protest comes just a week after a similar rally held in Bracebridge this past Sunday. Now, many of these protesters have also been calling for justice for the death of Canadian black woman Regis Korchinski-Paquette, who recently fell from an apartment balcony in Toronto during a police investigation. The SIU is currently investigating if Toronto police played any role in the cause of her death. A new update from the SIU released this afternoon states the investigation is still continuing, while the organization continues to look for testimony from witnesses to the fall and moments prior to it. Family member interviews are also postponed, as the family has decided they need more time before talking to the SIU. Well, I've got some good news. For the first time since reporting on COVID-19 cases started in Simcoe, Muskoka, not a single case has been reported in the health unit today. That came today as the health unit's report showed absolutely no new confirmed cases within this Simcoe-Muskoka catchment area. There is also only one active confirmed infection in Muskoka, a man in his 60s from the Gravenhurst area who was identified as confirmed by the health unit on Monday. Now, having said that, there is a possibility we might have another confirmed infection cropping up in Gravenhurst soon. TD Bank is confirming its branch in Gravenhurst has been closed due to a COVID-19 related incident. According to TD media officials, an employee at the site in Gravenhurst became symptomatic and is being tested for COVID-19. That worker was last on the job on May 29th. As a precaution, all employees of that branch have been told to self-isolate while the testing is underway and the branch has been closed. TD says it's prepared to follow through with further measures if the employee test comes back positive. Your TV Muskoka will keep you updated on this situation as more details become available. West Parry Sound OPP is still on the lookout for a man who got away from police during a search in the Carling Township area. The search started on Monday when police were pursuing a vehicle after it failed to stop for officers on Highway 400. West Parry Sound OPP used a spike belt to stop the vehicle at the Highway 559 exit, and two people quickly fled the area. One person was taken down by police and arrested in a wooded area. That Brampton man faces a medley of charges, including drug trafficking, dangerous driving, and possession of a prohibited weapon. Police then called in help from aviation and canine services, but were not able to track the other man. The OPP is asking anyone to be on the lookout for a black man who is about 6 feet tall, between 18 and 20 years old, with a thin build, weighing about 150 pounds. He was wearing a white t-shirt and black pants with the word Adidas written on them. If you've seen this man or you know his whereabouts, please call the OPP or leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. We are taking our first break, but stay with us for more after this. Welcome back. Well, the town of Huntsville is joining forces with the Chamber of Commerce and the BIA in support of the business community.
So the Chamber and the BIA called a lot of businesses and asked how we could support them. And it came out that because they can open, but the added expense of creating a safe environment for the community was challenging for them. So as much as this partnership is helping the businesses with hand sanitizer, masks, and floor stickers, it's keeping our community safe. So we felt like it was helping the businesses, but helping our community as well.
This support for local businesses couldn't come at a better time as the economy begins to open up. Richter says the pandemic has been tough on the business community.
They're fearful. Most businesses are fearful. When it was announced that they could open, there was a lot of hesitation and who's opening and how many people were going to open. The majority of the businesses are open. I think there's 3 that aren't, like retail. But now it's more, what does the summer look like? And they survive also on tourism. So it's kind of, how can we support the local economy and bring locals, and what does tourism look like this summer for them?
The deadline for businesses to reach out with their needs is tomorrow, June 4th at 4 p.m. Requests can be made through either the Chamber or the BIA.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be too long. So the town has sourced and the finances all figured out. It's more the requests, and it's just a one-time deal for the business owners. So we weren't sure what we would get, and a lot of business owners are going with a medium ask, that they want to be comfortable with what they're asking for. So the turnaround time will be quick, a week or 2, and then we're going to have kind of a depot where business owners can come and pick up, and then the Chamber and the BIA will help get them to the businesses.
Now, speaking of local support, the beer store in Gravenhurst is doing what it can to help with a local community initiative during this pandemic.
Every Monday and Wednesday when we take returns we have a pile behind me that is for Gravenhurst Against Poverty. Any donations that anyone would like to give in empties we are raising money for them. And Gravenhurst Against Poverty just helps out people who need a little help right now getting some food.
We were asked a few weeks ago if we would like to start a bottle drive, but we just don't have enough energy and manpower to do that. So the fact that Raina has taken that on is it's just wonderful, and it also it kind of shows how there are so many faces in Gravenhurst who are supporting GAP in so many ways, and these spontaneous fundraisers are just so heartwarming to us, because we just find out, oh, someone is doing something and they've got a jar out and it's for Gravenhurst Against Poverty. People can make donations and these things just come in. So it shows just how many people in the community see themselves as a part of GAP, and that's pretty validating for us.
Yeah, it's a really great organization. They're run by all volunteers, hardworking volunteers, and they went from before COVID, they went from feeding a certain number of people to now it's 3 times as many, and they just really need a hand. And we thought anything that we could do to help them out would be beneficial for them at least. They're an amazing group, and I hope a lot of other people can see this and help them as well. So we're going to be doing it until the end of June, and once at that point once we have everything processed, then we will give them the money at that point. So.
Well, we've talked about Gravenhurst, we've talked about Huntsville. When we come back from the break, I'll have details on how you can have your say on the future of Bracebridge. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, you have an opportunity to have your say in what is happening with downtown Bracebridge over the next few years. I checked in with Mayor Graydon Smith to chat about that.
So, Graydon, you have the evolution of downtown survey that's just come out from the town of Bracebridge. It's all part of the master plan that's coming together to improve, the overall Bracebridge experience. So, just tell me a bit about this survey, what you're hoping to hear, maybe what could be coming out of this.
Well, it's really the opening point in us consulting with residents in Bracebridge about what our downtown can be in the coming decades. So we've had a lot of change go on in Bracebridge in terms of what we have for property, the fact that we can access the waterfront more easily after the town purchased the former Timber Mart lands. And what a lot of people don't know is that the town owns a lot of land on either side of the falls from top to bottom. Also, we're going to see changes in certain properties downtown, like the current library facility. We know the post office is swapping locations, and our arena is going to move too. So there's a lot of opportunity there to reinvent ourselves into what we will be, and we want to hear from the public on just what their expectations are.
What would the time frame, I guess, on obviously this turnaround will be, I'm sure, within the next 6 months or so, but in terms of actually implementing ideas, what would the time frame on something like that be?
We're looking at this over years and decades, so people shouldn't think that once the work is done, it will all happen. We've obviously got large-scale projects on the go right now in terms of the multi-use community center and the facilities within that. And all these things cost money, but we need to have a plan. You don't know where you want to go unless you've figured that out. And this is part of that. And this will allow us to also financially plan for what we need to invest as a municipality in the downtown in years to come.
I know we're talking about basically millions of dollars, millions upon millions of dollars here, because the facility that is being built right now is around 40 to 60 million. But do we have an idea of overall costs of what this downtown revitalization over the decades or more could look like?
I really don't. We know the property that we purchased obviously came at a fairly high price because of where it's located. But that said, there are so many open components to this that it's impossible to really project how much will need to be invested on the public side. Mm-hmm. There's also a huge private opportunity here as well. So it's not just about making ideas come to life that is all government. I think what we want to do is combine a number of different ideas and have input from both the public and private sector to really make downtown Bracebridge sing even more than it does already.
Obviously, the town will be looking to different levels of government as well for funding opportunities, I'm sure.
At some point down the road, I don't think we ever want to miss those, but that's part of the need to have a plan as well, because you certainly can't just knock on the door these days and say, boy, we'd like some of that money you're giving away. You need to have projects that if they aren't ready to go are awfully close to it, or have a plan built around them that has very clear timelines, because the government has expectations that if they put money in your hands, it's going to be used to stimulate the economy, to produce that new level of service in your community. So we need to be ready to be able to receive future dollars wherever they may come from, and this is part of that process too.
Great, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the current situation with the multi-use facility. Where are we at now? And I know we were waiting on hearing about infrastructure funding from a specific funding stream that was coming from the province and federal governments. I'm assuming that's on hold right now, or what's the status with that?
Our knowledge right now is that it's still proceeding forward in terms of the evaluation of these applications. We do know that the program is hugely oversubscribed and that the provincial and federal governments are not going to be able to put food in every mouth that is asking for it. Mm-hmm. That said, from the very beginning, we knew that that was a possibility. So we have an option A, which is to get it all built using those dollars, and an option B, which is to get some of it built, primarily the arena and the main atrium area, using only local dollars. So one way or another, we'll be moving forward on that. But obviously, we want to do as much as we can now, and we put a very strong application together. Whether we get money or whether we don't get money, we certainly left nothing on the table in terms of the amount of information we've provided the provincial government, the amount of contact we've had with the government in terms of trying to advocate on behalf of this community and make something good happen. So it's taking longer to hear than we thought it would. The application went in last November. COVID obviously has slowed things down, but fingers crossed we'll hear soon, and it's good news.
Now, I know last we heard there was work to punch Salmon Avenue through to Highway 118. Where is the status on that right now?
Well, we're not going to quite Highway 118 with Phase 1. So we're going to go to where there's a little natural creek valley, the Beaver Creek Valley on those lands, and there'll be a Phase 2 at some other point. But we do need a road that gets into the site. And so we're building a fully serviced multi-lane road that is an extension of the existing Salmon Avenue, which for people that don't recognize that street name separates the independent grocer and Monk Public School right now. So that street will carry on into the property and take lots of hopefully happy folks to their new community centers not too far into the future.
Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about that in the near future. And in the meantime, how can people get involved with the current survey?
EngageBracebridge.ca is what you want to go to, and you can sign up to get information sent to you far beyond the survey about the project and stay engaged, just as the name implies about that. and also other projects that we have going on in town. So please go to that site. Please sign up. We really want to have you as part of this.
All right, Braden, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We are back to the break, but when I come back, some details on an awesome new way to get some fresh food in Muskoka. Stay with us. Welcome back. Are you missing the Gravenhurst Farmers Market? Well, if so, there's no need to wait any longer, as it officially opened up today. You can take a look.
Very excited after weeks and months of being indoors and all the homemade preserves.
Yeah, it's very nice to get out and see all the people together, which is really good after being cooped up for a few months.
We are open actually 2 weeks later than we had planned on, but we're here and we're grateful. We've been working with the health unit, the province of course, and the town of Gravenhurst, working really, really hard with our board members to finally get this day here, and that the food vendors are just so grateful. And of course we only can have food vendors. Normally we would have up to 100 vendors. We've got about 30 here today. There will be a few more once we get the fruit growers here and that type of thing. But we've got fresh produce, baking, maple syrup, honey, olive oil, all that kind of stuff. There's just our regular food vendors. Plus we have 2 new ones this year. We have a chicken farmer with chicken, of course, and we also have fresh fish, and he doesn't have any seafood today, but it's coming.
I am surprised at how many people are here. So I think it's a really good thing. I think things are going to pick up as the season goes on, and it'll give something for people to do, and people are happy to see us. I've heard customers say that they're really happy that we're here.
Glad they're reopening because they have a way to do it safely. I was given a mask on my way in and hand sanitizer. There's one-way lines to follow, which people are doing respectfully, and it's a great way to keep our economy going.
So there's no eating at the market this year. There's no food sampling. We don't have coffee and tea served like we normally do this year. We have no washroom facilities here. The building is closed, but we do have porta potties. And I don't know, it's pretty exciting that we're even open. So we hope that we get the support from the residents of Gravenhurst and the tourists, the cottagers. We just hope that we have a really, really good year.
Well, that's fantastic. You'll probably catch me down there this weekend buying some of that cranberry cheese. And we are going to take another break. Stick with us for Muskoka on Stage coming up next.
It's time once again to take a look at all the great shows you can enjoy without ever having to leave the comfort of your own home. Are you ready for more of what Hunters Bay Radio's Quarantunes has to offer? This week, Bette Smith, along with Rob Curry, joined the club by offering up some of her ear-soothing tunes that float between alternative folk and traditional country. The show starts on the Hunters Bay Radio Facebook page at 7 p.m. And you can also tune in Saturday at 7 p.m. for a performance from the amazing indie pop singer Megan Bailey from Barrie. Grab all the details on these shows and more by heading over to the Hunters Bay Radio Facebook page. To keep the little ones entertained during this time, check out the fun, family-friendly, and educational songs by Bette Smith's Betty and the Turnips. New videos will be posted every week or so on the Gravenhurst Opera House Facebook page. And for more local flavor, why not check out the Essential Concert Series running again this weekend out of Aurelia, but online for anyone to enjoy. This Saturday will feature musical father and son duo Sean and Bass Murray from the band Ray. All proceeds raised from this concert will support Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital. Find more details on the Essential Concert Series Facebook page. That's all for now, but I'll be back with more incredible virtual shows next week.
That's Cogeco News. Don't forget to watch us tomorrow live at 5. And from everyone here, thanks for watching. Have a good night.